Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for watching Mass Appeal. I'm Seth Stutman.
And I'm Ashley Cole. It's great to have you back, Seth.
It's good to be back. And today's a special day. It's Wednesday. It's the first day of Lent. It's Ash Wednesday. It's a season of prayer and penance in the Christian church.
Lent is the period leading up to Easter. It lasts 40 days, excluding Sundays. Many people give up something during Lent, such as food, television, or any other activity. Taking up acts of charity is also customary.
Now, here's a neat little twist. You might call this Mobile Ash Wednesday. Father Derek Fetz of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Longmeadow, he's been spending his days like this, dispensing ashes to the faithful at Main Street and Court Streets in downtown Springfield.
Father Fetz said that they are doing this at 3 locations around Springfield today: Court Square, Tower Square, and the bus station. The church began offering ashes to passersby last year. Then he says that they dispensed ashes to about 200 people, and Fetz says he expects at least that many today. He said that they are doing this because it is often difficult for people to take time out of their busy schedules and go to church. It's nice that they are recognizing that, because people do work and it may be difficult for them to get to the church. So it's wonderful that they are doing that.
And now we're going to learn a little bit more about the message behind Ash Wednesday and Lent
with Reverend Jonathan Reardon. Father Reardon, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, have your ashes on your forehead. Now, we will see people with ashes on their forehead all day long, all over.
Yep.
What is the significance of this day?
This day it marks the beginning of Lent, as you noted, but to mark it with ashes is significant because ashes are biblical. We go back to stories like Jonah and the whale. You know, when he preached to the Ninevites. You know, the king of Nineveh sat in sackcloth and ashes as a sign of repentance. When Job was struck by Satan, you know, God allowed it for him. In that story, his friends came to visit and they sat in ashes. So ashes is really a sign of mourning. It's a sign of penance and repentance. King David as well, when he sinned, sat in ashes. So ashes are biblical and they have meaning. And for us, it means that we're entering into a time of repentance, a time of penance, where we recognize the fact that we're not perfect, we make mistakes, we sin, and we're asking God for forgiveness. So ashes are a symbol of that.
There's another symbol, I think a lot of people see it during today and other days. It's the palm. Now, what does the palm mean? Palms
come at the end, and that's a symbol. Palms are actually a symbol of victory. And when Jesus entered into Jerusalem, into Jerusalem in his triumphal entry, they laid palms at his feet, at his feet, as a sign of the coming victory that he would bring. And for us, that's the same thing. It's the victory. At the end of Lent, there's victory. There's some sort of goal, and that's the 40 days means that. You're entering into this time with a certain goal, a certain outcome, a certain renewal, and palms are significant because they represent that victory.
Now, what is the reasoning for 40 days throughout this?
So 40 days is significant because those are the days that Jesus entered into the desert. He fasted and prayed for 40 days before he began his mission. And at the end of that 40 days, he was tempted by the devil. And in the same way, in our 40 days of fasting and prayer is meant to connect to that 40 days.
Now, also another tradition I think a lot of people practice, no meat on Fridays. What's the significance of that? Why do people still do it to this
It's an ancient custom, but we do it because meat's a luxury. Steak. You know, think about it. When you're on your barbecue during the summertime and you want a nice big fat juicy steak, I could go for one right now.
I was gonna say, I see your mouth is starting to salivate.
My mouth is watering right now because of it, but it's a luxury and it tastes good. And so to not have meat is a sacrifice because it is a luxury.
So like you said, we will see people all day long with ashes on their forehead all over. Maybe when you do see that, you won't be able, or when you look in the mirror and see your own, to remember what this day is about and to reflect and to realize what this day is really significant for.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a reminder that we're not perfect, and at the end of this, we want to be better people. We want to be better Christians. We're trying to have a renewal of our faith, get closer to God. That's why we make sacrifices. That's why we enter into this time of fasting and prayer and suffering and penance, because we want to identify more closely with Jesus. We want to be more like him. And so that's the goal in the end.
So many people out there, they're going to give up something for these 40 days, or they're going to maybe try something new or try to promote kindness in and around their community. What are the things that you're seeing a lot of people give up around this time? Maybe what are some suggestions? If people are thinking, what should I give up or what should I do in the community? What would you recommend to everybody out there?
I think making sacrifices are important because it helps us to really make it hurt a little bit, you know? And if it doesn't hurt a little bit, if you don't put something into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. And that's one thing. acts of kindness are great. I mean, we give up ice cream in our house because the priest I live with likes ice cream. So we give up ice cream, or seltzer water because I'm addicted to seltzer water. You know, those types of things that you have an attachment to that you could do without, you know, and so it makes it hurt a little bit. Acts of kindness is another great thing to do. Maybe reaching out to a neighbor that you've never met before, or the person in your office who's maybe having a bad day and you know it. You know, little things like that go a long way, and they really push us to break out of our comfort zone. And that's really what the point is. Step out of ourselves, give of ourselves a little bit more so that we can receive more love from God.
Yes, and it does feel just so good to help people.
It does.
And to do it for expecting nothing in return.
Exactly.
And I think that's some ideas that you gave are wonderful ways to do that. And of course, we can all do that today and throughout Lent and all year long.
Well, we should be doing it all year long, but Lent is sort of it's a way that we can specifically to enter into these types of things.
Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. So it's kind of that whole mentality.
Now you have a conference coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
We do. Another thing a lot of people do for Lent is go on retreat. Because going on retreat, you're spending a whole day in prayer. You're spending a whole day listening to great talks, and that's what we do. Same thing, to renew your faith, to get closer to God. We have great speakers coming up for our conference this year, March 29th. Cardinal O'Malley is coming. Wow. The Archbishop of Boston. He was supposed to come last year, but then our Holy Father
Pope Benedict
last year.
Decided to retire, and so Cardinal O'Malley decided, well, I guess I better go to Rome, and I had to miss the conference. So he felt bad, so he's coming back. And we're going to be talking about penance. We're going to be talking about reconciliation. What does it mean to sin? What does it mean to be reconciled to God? And particularly for Catholics, that means going to confession. What does that mean? Why should we do it? So the Cardinal is going to speak about that for us.
Well, Father Rudin, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Good Ash Wednesday to you.
Nice
Happy Lent to you.
Happy Lent to you.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much.